This is Mental Selling, the sales podcast for people who are dedicated to making a difference in customers' lives. We're here to help you unlock sales talent, win more relationships, and transform your business with integrity. I'm your host, Haley Parr. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Mental Selling Podcast, brought to you by Integrity Solutions, where we explore the mindset and skill set behind high-performance sales and the people who make it happen. I'm your host, Haley Parr, and today we're opening a two-part conversation about something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough: the untapped potential sitting right inside your clinical teams. Think about it. Clinical specialists walk into accounts every single day with something most salespeople spend years trying to earn: trust. They're already in the room. They already have relationships. And yet, so often, that influence stops short of where it could go. In this first episode, we're going to tackle the foundation, the mindset shift that has to happen before any skill or technique can take hold, and the 4 traits that separate a trusted clinical presence from a genuine strategic influencer. We'll be hearing from Amanda Ervin, Senior Learning and Performance Consultant at Integrity Solutions, and Michelle Dillon, a healthcare industry veteran with over 24 years in sales, clinical, and training roles. Amanda gets things started with what she calls her service through sales philosophy and why the words we use to describe selling matter more than we think. Let's get into it.
Oftentimes when you say, think of what selling is, we think of the worst version of what selling looks like, feels like, and sounds like. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be aggressive. I'm there to build trust and credibility and support. I don't want to be that person that's annoying and bothering them. No wonder, if that's their definition of what selling is, that we don't see them leaning into their ability to have this strategic influence in the account. So let's dig in just a little bit deeper, because when we think about sales versus service, right, our service folks do these things really, really well already. When you think of service and support and partnership that I saw in the chat, they build that rapport, that connection. They're good at listening and they have empathy, right? They're oftentimes there and they're in the role because they care about the patients. They care about the people in the clinic, and they ask good questions when they're in there to help understand the patient's issues and the clinic's issues, and they help to problem solve. That right there is the definition of service, and it's how we at Integrity Solutions define service. Now, conversely, when you think of sales, if we were to ask them to start thinking about their roles in the context of sales, here's what we would be asking them to do. Here's how we define sales at Integrity Solutions. And I would imagine many of you, when you think of what great sales looks like, what great sales should feel like, and what you would want your sellers out there doing, I bet it's building trust and credibility, having empathy, asking really great questions, and understanding problems so they can solve issues and problems. I bet that's the type of selling that you would want to see. That's the type of selling I would want to experience. And that is the type of selling that we want our clinical specialists out there doing, right? Here's the mindset shift. Here's the change we make when we start to unpack what's between the ears of our clinical specialists. When we understand what their view of selling is, we must redefine it so they see service as sales and sales and service. Because when we're thinking about how we can leverage their role in the clinics and hospitals, they are our most trusted, oftentimes, strategic influencers. And when we start shifting the script from service versus sales to service through sales, we redefine sales by saying that selling's not something we want you to do to someone. It's something we want you to do for them and with them. And when we define it as a process for identifying and filling needs, helping people solve problems and bringing value to them, that is something a clinical specialist who got in the role to help people can get behind. When we ask them to sell, we have to remind them they're the same human with the same trust, the same credibility, and those same key behaviors. We just need them to have a broader impact. And they can increase their level of service by providing sales. Because how dare you, if you define sales as bringing people value and helping them solve problems, how dare you not offer ideas and solutions that may help them be in a better place? So one of the ways that we can start to impact and change the view of the role that these people have in the clinics is through helping redefine selling and unpacking where some of those negative mindset markers already exist.
Let's pause there for a second. So Amanda isn't introducing a new technique, right? She's not handing clinical specialists a script. What she is doing is challenging the definition sitting at the center of the whole problem. If your clinical team believes, even unconsciously, that selling means pushing, persuading, or performing, then no amount of skill training is going to move the needle. They'll learn the behaviors, but they won't use them because the behavior and the belief conflict. So that reframe from service versus sales to service through sales does something most training skips entirely. It gives clinical specialists permission to act on the influence they already have. And Amanda makes a point worth sitting with. How dare you withhold value if you define sales as helping people solve problems? If you believe in what you're doing and you believe it helps people, keeping that information to yourself costs the patient, it costs the clinic, and the relationship. So the first unlock is the story clinical specialists tell themselves about what their role is and what it allows them to do. That story has to change before anything else can. The thing is, a lot of clinical specialists take this job because they genuinely want to help people, and that is not a liability. That's actually an enormous asset. The trust they've built, the access they have, the relationships they've cultivated, all of that comes from caring about outcomes. Specialists don't have to do anything radically different to be effective. They only need to use what they already have in a more intentional way. So this is where Michelle comes into the conversation, because once the mindset is right, the question then becomes, what does this actually look like in practice? Turns out there's a system for that. There are 4 traits that research shows separate high-performing influencers from everyone else. The good news, none of them are fixed. All 4 are coachable. All 4 can grow. So here's Michelle.
The 4 traits for successful influence or success really is a system. I know that Integrity Solutions surveyed thousands of performing sales professionals, and these 4 traits really rose to the top as the ability to influence for good in others. The first one is strong goal clarity. And when we think about goal clarity, we're thinking about clear and specific written goals that you are thinking about daily. We think about high achievement drive. That's the feeling you get. That's the energy multiplier. Your winning mindset. You're 9 times down, 10 times up. And we're going to dig into that a little bit more as well. Healthy emotional intelligence. This is the buzzword, EQ. It is a skill. It's something that you can build. It is the ability to understand your feelings, the feelings of your customer, of your patient, of others, and then also understanding how those behaviors impact your behaviors, their behaviors, impact others' emotions. And then 4th, excellent social skills. where it comes together. Listening, reflecting, adapting. Your communication, is it landing? What is your style? And timing. What does this all mean for you? 4 questions that I ask myself before every meaningful interaction when we think about goal clarity. Why? Begin with the end in mind, always. This is a really simple system. What is my goal here? What is the objective? And then we think about when. Do I have a system of planning? Will this fit into my schedule? Do I have it on my calendar? Have I told Alexa to plug it in as a reminder? Are you using your resources and your technology to help you? And the who. Typically, when you think about a goal, you're thinking about your goal. But as a clinical specialist or as a trainer or as a leader, are you thinking about their goal first? And there's a specific reason why I put their goal. Naturally, we're not going to think about what their goal is. But what is their goal? What is my goal? And then importantly, what is our goal together? So that this is a partnership to help your customer and your patients. And then when we talk about goals, when you've had the interaction, what went well? And why do we have what went well? Because immediately you're going to think about what didn't go well. That is your brain firing as exactly as it's trained to. But what we need to do is be very intentional and think about what went well, because we are building that mindset foundation on success, on the little things we do when we've engaged our courage to be able to say what went well after every meeting, after everything that you risk, after every system that you try, what went well. Let's talk about the why a little bit more. Beginning with the end in mind. Is that a mantra that you use? I use that and I make it personal. And the reason I make it personal, because I know I am willing to do more towards my goal. And what makes it personal for me is thinking about the patient, thinking about how every decision, every conversation I have, every action and conversation I have to influence someone in using technology, changing a system, changing a habit, that helps a patient. And then beyond that, what does success look like for that patient? Am I spending some time to understand why? Start with the outcome that you're actually trying to create. And then when? Time. Without a calendar, a goal is a wish. Are you plug it in? Are you following through? Planning is a practice. Are you taking 30 seconds? Use your napkin in your car to write down, what is my system? What is my goal here? 10 minutes if you have it. And make sure that you're thinking about that on a regular basis. It's going to take those 30 days that we talk about, and it starts today. Find the overlap and then name it out loud. Their goal, my goal, our goal. Who? Are you talking to yourself in the morning? Well, you should be, because that's what you do. You can hear yourself. You can hear your goal. Tell others. The best way to hold yourself accountable is by telling somebody else. Who is your trusted truth teller? What is their goal this quarter? Have you asked them? What's the goal in this account? What's the overlap? And name it out loud. And make sure that you're meeting yourself where you are. Maybe the goal is just to make eye contact, and that's okay too. And then what? A short habit of reflection beats the long postmortem. What went well? And make sure you tell somebody what went well. What just happened? I say that all the time. Sometimes it's, it might be a strange occurrence, but what just happened? What did you learn? What will you start, stop, or continue? What went well? What is your internal awareness after you ask those questions? We're talking about emotional intelligence now. The ability to read the room is a practice. And you can have good days and you can have bad days. It really depends on your mindset and how much you're training your mind. Start with yourself. Reading the room is tricky. There's culture, there's context, there's different changes. Your ecosystem changes. It is something that you have to continually practice in your system of understanding the ability to notice your own state, the state of the people you're with. Name your state before you walk in. If you've got the butterflies and you're saying, oh, I'm really nervous, how about change that word and say, I'm really excited. That's going to change your brain a little bit. Mark my words. All right, let's talk about the external. We mentioned social skills, your external fluency, your actions, your behaviors, you're calibrating, adjusting, adapting, and you're doing that authentically. You're going to match your style, but you don't want to lose your own. Calibrate to the audience in a respectful way. reading posture, eye contact, silence. And this is not a way to manipulate. This is a way so that you can communicate for comprehension. And if you're a clinical, you're already doing that with your technical skill. Now you're adapting in communication and influencing with your actions and behavior. Listening is a skill. Are you making eye contact? Have you prepared to listen? These are your social skills and the ability to translate what you're picking up and understanding. All of these you can work on. And once you've got your external and your internal and your goals in line, you know what's going to increase? The multiplier of high achievement drive. It's a numbers game, people. You can have high achievement drive if you can pick yourself back up. I said 9 times down, 10 times up. And that's because you are using your courage to try again. So maybe you haven't asked that question to a customer. Maybe you're training your clinical specialists to have another conversation, ask a question, connect with their sales rep to have a discussion, a business discussion maybe they're not used to having. High achieving reps are not the loudest. They can be, and that's okay too. But they are relentless. They are relentless because they know their why. It's to help the patient. They know the fundamentals of mindset, and they write things down before and after. Using that high achievement drive when you know you're having a great day, do the tough stuff. Have that tough conversation when you feel it. You will start to have more of those really good days. Again, the 4 traits of high-performing influencers: strong goal clarity. Did you write it down? Did you tell Alexa? Pick up your phone right now. Put something in that you were thinking about. But how about you start right now and think about what's one goal you have for today? And maybe it's just getting face-to-face with one of your customers, and that's okay. Start where you are. Your high achievement drive, that's going to grow when you've grown your healthy emotional intelligence and you have some excellent social skills that are improving. When you hit those goals, your achievement drive is going to grow.
I think of achievement drive, Michelle, as oftentimes that thing you can't put your finger on. You know, when you have a clinical specialist and you're like, I don't know, she's amazing, right? She just gets it done. People love her. She's always the highest, on our rankings. And I don't know why, right? You can't put a finger on it. It's oftentimes this achievement drive. It's their drive to be successful no matter what. And I hear from organizations all the time, yeah, but we hire for that. You can't build that. And when I think about that, I think, there's some ways you can build that. Number one, by improving on goal clarity, emotional intelligence, and social skills, you start to unlock achievement drive. And the one killer of achievement drive that I have found in my many years is mindset. Because I can train every single person in the same skills and the same processes. And yet it's those people that take it and run every time. And we say, yeah, but they're just great at it. The people that aren't able to get off of first base and start their process and unlock their achievement drive and achieve their highest potential, it's oftentimes because something between the ears is holding them back. So I think it really ties well into mindset. I encourage everybody out there to start thinking about, when you think about your clinical team and their capabilities in each one of these areas, where do these folks need help and improvement? Where can I lean in on developing and coaching people in these areas so that I can unlock their achievement drive? Having coaching conversations where you're even asking them to rank which one they feel like they could improve upon, and coaching to that is an incredible opportunity to connect and develop people where they're at.
Trust gets you in the room. But as Amanda and Michelle made clear in this conversation, is that what you do with that trust and whether your team has the mindset to act on it is what separates a good clinical specialist from a genuinely strategic one. The 4 traits they covered, let's review: strong goal clarity, high achievement drive, healthy emotional intelligence, and excellent social skills are not abstract at all. They're measurable, they're coachable, and they compound over time. And as Amanda put it, the biggest barrier to all of them is actually what's happening between the ears. So that's the work of part 1. In part 2, stick around, we're going to build on this foundation and get into the practical skills. Specifically, how to ask the right questions, how to move from transactional support to consultative dialogue, and the 5 moves you can start making with your clinical teams right now. I'm Haley Parr. Thanks for listening to the Mental Selling Podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone on your team and connect with Integrity Solutions on LinkedIn. We'll see you in part 2. If you're looking for a way to accelerate sales performance this year, we invite you to build your sales performance roadmap, aligned to your goals and designed to close skill gaps, strengthen customer trust, and deliver measurable growth. To learn more or get started, visit integritysolutions.com. Thank you for joining us on Mental Selling. If today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. For more insights on how to go beyond winning deals and build real customer relationships, visit integritysolutions.com. See you next time.